What is going on, you guys? It is Eric from the Anabolic Aliens, here to bring you one tip that's going to be broken into a variety of other tips that is going to help you increase your muscle mass. And we're not specifically talking about strength in this video, but we are going to be talking about building overall mass, which in the long run will lead to overall strength gains as well. Now let's break down any movement here. We have a concentric portion of the lift, the up portion on most lifts, I should say. So if you're doing a bicep curl, it's up, okay? If you're doing a tricep extension, it's down, so it gets a little complicated. But basically, anytime where you are moving the weight positively, okay? Then we have the eccentric, also called the negative part of the rep. So if it's a bicep curl, coming down. And then you have the top and the bottom. The concentric part of the movement is obviously beneficial. We all know that. You have to move the weight positively in order to make muscle and strength gains. The top of the exercise, for the most part, is usually not too beneficial, other than if you spend too much time there, it can actually cause some joint and ligament pain. And the bottom of the rep is super good if you're trying to build something like tightness and overall flexibility of the muscle. But the most important part of the lift we're talking about today is the eccentric. And I know a lot of you already have a good grasp on the fact that the eccentric is really good for building muscle, but I want to tell you how to maximize the effectiveness of the eccentric part of the movement. That way you're not missing out on strength gains that you thought you were getting in the first place, because I know, for one, I was a huge victim of this as well. So understand, when you are in the eccentric part of the movement, you are breaking down your muscle fibers, you are releasing what's called phosphatidic acid. So for a bicep curl here, we're releasing phosphatidic acid on each negative rep. And the reason this is so important is because the increase in phosphatidic acid is going to result in increased protein synthesis. Now, I will list some studies down below so you guys can check that information out as well. Also, it has been shown that if you supplement with phosphatidic acid, it can have the same results, but obviously the more natural way of breaking it down with the eccentric part of the movement is much more beneficial and much more cost effective. And not only that, guys, when you're in the eccentric part of the movement, that is where you're going to activate all your satellite cells. That's something I talked about in a previous video, but what satellite cells do is when the muscle is damaged, so we're talking about good damage, right? We're not talking about you tore something in your body, you tore a muscle. We're talking about good damage. When you break down your muscles in the gym, these satellite cells are going to rush to the muscle and they transform into immature muscle cells and then lead to more muscle growth because you're actually increasing the amount of muscle cells that you have. So what you guys are probably thinking is, oh damn, like I gotta go to the gym and make sure I have super long eccentric movements, but it's not exactly true. And the reason why is because there are two contractile proteins called actin and myosin. And what these two proteins do is if you spend too much time in the eccentric part of the movement, they're going to build a bunch of these things called cross bridges. And these cross bridges are going to basically decrease the amount of tension on the muscle, which will lead to less muscle breakdown, which is what we're trying to accomplish in the gym, breaking down those muscles so the phosphatidic acid gets released, and that way the satellite cells can go there and transform into new muscle cells. So by spending too much time in the negative or eccentric part of the movement, you are actually preventing muscle breakdown. Crazy. But you will notice that you get a lot more sore that way, which is why a lot of people believe in it. So now you're probably wondering, well, how long should my reps be in the eccentric phase? And the maximal amount of time is probably about 1 to 3 seconds. So I'm sure a bunch of you guys have heard about tempo training. So as far as the tempo is concerned for the eccentric part, the most we ever really want to go to is a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. At the most, 1 to 3 is most beneficial. And the most important part of this, guys, is when you're in the eccentric part of the movement, make sure you're actually targeting the muscles you're supposed to. Like, don't just let the weight swing down. I know this is time after time again, people say this, but if you're in the gym and you're doing one arm rows and you're like, wah, and then like just duh, duh, not only do you look really funny, but you're also not accomplishing much because you're not keeping that tension on the muscle like you're supposed to. So keep it in that 1 to 3 rep range to maximize the amount of muscle breakdown. Also, guys, if you find yourself hitting a plateau with muscle growth, there is something you can do about it, and that is basically you're just going to load the eccentric up like crazy. So understand that if you have a max bench press of 315 pounds, let's say, you're coming down with the bar with 315. Now, even if I can't actually press that 315, maybe I can actually control it for 1 to 3 seconds eccentrically. So controlling that negative for 1 to 3 seconds. Having a spotter help me, or spotters on both sides, pull that weight back up so I can do a few more reps eccentrically. And what this does is causes a ton of muscle breakdown. And the way you want to use this is not necessarily for like a 1 rep max, usually in more of like a bodybuilding rep range so you can handle a greater load and cause more muscle breakdown. Although I wouldn't do this too many times throughout the week because it does cause a lot of muscle damage. Therefore, you're going to need a lot of recovery, so it shouldn't be done too frequently. So I hope you guys learned something valuable from this video. Make sure you leave a comment down below of what you thought of this video. I'm going to list the original article that I got this video from. It's actually from a bodybuilding.com article. I know it's crazy, a lot of you probably wouldn't guess that, but it was written by a very talented, smart person in the industry about 2 years ago. So I want you to go check out that article, read it, tell me what you think, because I'm basically just spitting all this information out to you because I don't want to leave you guys hanging when you're in the gym. So make sure you leave a comment down below, thumbs up the video if you liked it, and as always guys, stay tuned for more good stuff coming from us, the Anabolic Aliens. I will see you in the next video.